What is up, everybody? I am here in Dublin for the Misfits 17 pay-per-view with the one and only Ben Davis. We're ready to get started with this amazing press conference coming up very, very shortly. But before that, let's talk about this fantastic fight card. Ben.
It's truly special. All roads lead to YouTuber and content creator Danny Aarons gracing the boxing ring for the first time against a Premier League title winner. Danny Simpson has been at the highest of highs in football, and now he's headlining the 3 Arena. I mean, what a fantastic night to end on. But all of these fights, I'd say, have something special.
Absolutely, and not only that, but we also have a fantastic performance that we're going to see from KSI himself, right? Obviously, it was supposed to be KSI fighting. Sometimes you can't get everything you wanted, but he's pivoted. He's showing that he's got a lot of different avenues and a lot of different skills, and he's going to be able to deliver to the best of his ability, right? Obviously not in the avenue that we thought he was going to, but I still think that it's going to be fantastic for the fans to see KSI. I'm excited for this main fight because I think that this brings it back to the core essence of what influencer boxing was all about.
Completely. It's the old days of crossover combat that we're seeing in a renewed manner. But I want to highlight KSI originally fighting one of his original opponents is still staying on the card in Anthony Pretty Boy Taylor. Now, we saw this cat go to work on August 10th in Miami against the Swedish samurai Samuel Eriksson. That's a different AT. If that version of AT shows up against Gabe Silva, we could see and still at the end of the night here in the 3 Arena.
I'm curious about it, though, Ben, because let's think about the difference in caliber of opponent. Gabe Silva has a lot of that boxing fundamentals that Eric Samuelson didn't have.
Yes.
So, sorry, Samuel Eriksson didn't have. But does he bring that same style against a different fighter in Gabe Silva, or is he going to be able to maintain that positive forward aggression? That's something I'm curious to see, because it could be that the offense that Gabe Silva brings is going to shut down that new style that AT showed us.
100%. The length, the power that Gabe Silva has is truly something to be remarkable to watch, right? I know firsthand. Now, the question is, though, OJ Rose and me aren't exactly highest caliber of competition, right? With respect to myself and OJ, I'd say AT has faced these bigger challenges. He has taken on these larger titans. So Gabe's got to rise to the occasion if he wants to capture the belt. But that's one of 2 title fights that we see on this card. Dean the Great also returning. I'm pretty excited about this, Riley.
Ben, you read my mind. I was about to go to Dean the Great. Dean the Great coming in back from an injury. Now, I've had some shoulder issues myself. It can be a very, very transformative injury. So I'm very curious to see how Dean is going to be able to show us. Has he recovered properly? Has he done the right steps to be able to get back to 100%? And is it going to be in his mind to protect that shoulder? Because that's what we saw mid-fight against Waleed Sharks. He injured himself. He was able to fight through it in honestly fantastic fashion. But is that going to be in the back of his mind? Is that injury lingering? Or has he recovered 100%? Going in against the one and only Conor McGregor's former photographer.
Current, he's still Conor McGregor's photographer. We got to give Dave Fogarty the respect he deserves. A very well-accomplished mixed martial artist. Of course, he's getting all the rounds with a notorious one, but he mentioned to us that he did have 5 or 6 boxing exhibitions. So when you look at it on paper, you don't see those, but he pulled us aside and said, guys, I've been inside, the circle. I've done it before.
Yeah, and then we also have, of course, HS Ticky Talky finally making his Misfits debut. This has been something we've been working to for a long time, going up against George Fensom, who's relatively unproven. HS has been boxing, right? He's got footage from, honestly, a couple of years ago, I believe, in the ring, training to some capacity. I don't know how dedicated he's been, but something I do know is this is a wild man. This is a guy that is coming to fight.
He's a lunatic. I think that's the only word to describe HS Ticky Talky. He is quite literally crazy. But that works to his benefit because he's going to go in there and throw with zero regard. He treated that street fight with Zerka like a street fight. He made it dirty. And I believe that's what he's going to do against George Fensom, who, if you looked at him on the pads, George is doing all the right things in this preparation, but the time that these 2 gentlemen have had is quite limited. So even if you're trying to work and become a technical boxer, you're not going to accomplish that in the fight week, in the fight camp, that they had. So maybe brawling is the best route, and that's certainly the one HS Ticky Talky is going to take.
Yeah, and he doesn't even necessarily have to brawl with him, right? I think that once he applies that pressure, we're going to see a big difference in if George is going to be able to maintain any of the fundamentals that he's developed. I think Ben is being a little bit kind to George. I didn't see too much in his preparation. I was like, oh, I don't know. But either way, I think this could be a great possible showcase for performance for a guy like HS, who personally I've been saying hopefully could be a big name in the Misfits area if he's able to deliver in the ability that I think we know that he's going to be able to deliver.
Well, talking about big names, here in Dublin, there's few bigger than Ben the Bumblebee Williams, who is looking to extend his unbeaten Misfits record to 2-0, right? The debut over Fez Batista. Beyond dominant, beyond impressive. Now here he is in the hometown. Can he stick the landing in the backyard, Riley?
And the thing is Fez, I think, didn't really get the credit that he deserved. I think that he showed up, he had a good left hook, he had a lot of heart, and Ben Williams was still able to beat him pretty handedly. Let's call a spade a spade. So I think that this is a step up in competition. They share an opponent, right?
Duluth Savage.
They do. And both of them were able to do pretty well against him. But the mechanic himself is showing a lot of confidence. I'm curious to see what's going to happen here. This is really, to me, that catalyst of, is Ben Williams going to make himself an established name in the influencer boxing scene?
Can he break into bigger realms, or will the mechanic be able to stall the forward-moving momentum of one Bumblebee? That's the question. We start the night, though, with the son of another legend. We talked about Gabe Silva from the legendary Silva clan. How about Prince Nassim Hamid's son, Sammy, taking on Jesse Clark? This kicks off the night on the DAZN card, and I think that's the best fight to set the tone.
Absolutely, and we're talking about a guy whose father is one of the most stylistic boxers of all time, style-wise. When I'm talking about going in there and styling on your opponents, he is probably up there with the best ever. Is his son going to be able to deliver the same way? Because one of his sons is in the pro boxing ring already, 2 wins. This one is coming in a different avenue. Maybe he's a misfit and thought, you know what, Misfits represents me better. I'm curious to see, is he going to be able to deliver? Because he's got a lot more pressure than pretty much anyone else on the card. Maybe Gabe Silva has similar level of expectation. So is that going to crush him? And then Jesse Clark, kind of unknown, right?
Playing with house money. I think Jesse Clark is in this ultimate opportunity where he can steal the momentum, steal the hype, and nobody's expecting too much from him. With respect, right, there's this level of unknown and intrigue that I think the mass audiences are going to have, so he has the best chance to really upset the apple cart. But before we get into this press conference, Riley Osborne, any final thoughts on this card?
One quick last thing. I think the main event, let's touch back on it real quick, Danny Aaron's physical transformation, but also he's shown that he is the type of guy to put in the work. He's put in the work in every other avenue of his life, every other avenue of his career, and I think we've seen that he's put in the work in the boxing preparation as well. This is going to be a pay-per-view. This is going to be one of the best events we see, and I think that he is proving that he's going to be able to show himself as possibly the next face of Misfits.
They call him the next KSI. We'll have to see on Saturday night here from the 3 Arena. Make sure you tune into the press conference, but more importantly, buy the pay-per-view on DAZN. 8 fantastic bouts and a KSI special performance. It's going to be a fun one. We'll see you there.
Live on DAZN, August 31st, X Series 17, a colossal crossover card in Dublin. Danny Aaron faces Premier League winner Danny Simpson.
Stepping in the ring against the former footballer.
Dean the Great defends his title against hometown hero Dave Fogarty. And Irish boxing sensation Ben Williams is back.
I'm gonna smash Warren Spencer's face in.
Plus global superstar KSI returns with a special live performance. X Series 17, August 31st, live on DAZN. Buy now at DAZN.com.
Always got your back.
No matter what. Before we were enemies, we were like brothers.
This will be totally worth it. Don't be a glitch. Hey, you don't be a glitch.
We were given the power to change our world.
No, now we finally have the power to take what's ours.
He's a little intense.
What happened? My best friend. We could have built the future together. I don't think so.
Transformers 1. Only in theaters September 20th.